able to understand, I think, what we need to do to safeguard this environment. This is also very important.
role in terms of so like the pains they have taken in organizing this workshop. I'm also happy to just inform you that the SaGHAA 2015, as a part of this exercise, resulted in a very, I would say, very good book, which has been published by Springers, and which also again confirms that the SaGHAA is playing a very important role in this area. While conceiving 2017 SaGHAA, I just had suggested to Rasik and Raghunath that let's have a theme. Having a common subject every time will not take us too far. And that's how this emerged, that the role of SaGHAA science related to the this region, Himalayan as well as the Arctic and Antarctic, their relationship with the climate change. And of course, climate change is a bigger issue, and as Dr. Shailesh was mentioning, that there are linkages. Our Himalayan region does affect the rain or the heat in the Himalayan region affects the so-called weather in Arctic, and that in turn affects our own monsoon. So there are linkages, and we need to understand that. That's for something which probably we will be discussing in much more detail on these issues. But this concept of theme-based SaGHAA, in my view, probably will take us further. And the fact that we have almost 200 people participating, the growth which is shown from the previous one itself shows that this is a good way of making forward. And I'm suggesting that even in future, it would be a very good idea to really talk of a newer subject. Just for example, we have never discussed the technologies related to if we have to really make further progress out about the habitability of human beings on, let us say, in these regions. And I was just remembering, there is one person, I would say the best engineer in the world today, Elon Musk. He's making a lot of other progress. He will not discuss that. But he wants to see that by his lifetime, almost 100,000 people, 1 lakh people, should be living on Mars. And he is working seriously. Almost 400 engineers are really working how to make life possible and survive in generations on Mars. Now, this thought comes, if you have to test those technologies on Earth for a long time, can there be better platform than Antarctic? I mean, these are some of these things. I just thought probably we have to really look at different aspects of both science and geopolitics of this region. And this is for next, let's say, planning, that we should come out with different kind of ideas. I'm actually overwhelmed by such a good response to the workshop, and thank you all of you, and also wish this particular SaGHAA next 2 days all the very successful deliberations. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest of honor, Dr. Nell Konk is Research Director at the Norwegian Polar Institute of Norway and is serving since September 2011, and she is also adjunct professor at the University of Tromsø. She received her doctoral degree in marine geology and placenography from the University of Bergen in 1993 and qualified as professor in 2003. She has over 20 years of experience with climate interpretation from polar marine sediment cores and has participated and led many cruises in the Nordic Seas, Arctic Ocean and the Southern Ocean, and also participated in several ODP and IODP cruises. And ladies and gentlemen, I have the proud privilege in inviting Dr. Nellen Koch for her address. Let's once again put our hands together to welcome.
Distinguished guest, Your Excellency, it's an honor to be once more participating at SaGHAA. CO2, the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, is already soaring over 400 parts per million. As our globe is warming, we are seeing the effects of that in the ice-covered areas of the Earth, the 3 poles, which are the topic of this conference. And these areas are changing, melting much more rapidly than any of our models or scientists, experts could foresee. So there are issues regarding understanding of these areas which are not completed. There's so much more we need to do to understand and keep up with the changes. We have a big challenge today, and the challenge is that the atmosphere, the ocean, the ice, and the ecosystem components of our climate, they are coupled. It's not only this coupling between the different parts of the climate system, but they are also coupled globally. So things that are happening in the Arctic or the Antarctic or the Himalayas, they are not on their own. They are being influenced by what's happening in the rest of the world. At the same time, they are also affecting the rest of the world. So these are quite complicated and complex systems, which also are very challenging to understand. And here is the main issue. There's not one single country who have enough knowledge or capacity to address these questions alone. Therefore, international cooperation is the only solution to go forward with understanding of these complicated systems. When it comes to India, we have in the Norwegian polar research community a long-standing collaboration. Despite the geographic distance between our countries, when it comes to polar research in the Arctic and Antarctic, we are neighbors. Our scientists work in very close vicinity from each other, and sometimes actually they work together in the same area. A very good example of this is the MEDICE project, where at this moment our researchers from SaGHAA and the Norwegian Polar Institute together are out in the field work at Dronning Maud Land. And we will be hearing about this project later in the conference from Dr. Tamban Melot. Another good example of our collaboration is the fact that we also need to think about knowledge transfer and recruitment of young generations to polar studies. In an earlier SaGHAA meeting conference, I had the great pleasure of chatting with the former director of SaGHAA, Dr. Ravindra, and the former State Secretary, Dr. Nayak. And during this small chat, we decided that our Indian colleagues could send 2 young students to our institute to get their PhDs on Arctic and Antarctic glaciology. These are important measures for both ensuring tighter connections, collaborations between our scientists, but also, like I said, it's very important when it comes to transfer of knowledge between our communities. So with this, I want to thank you all for this fantastic possibility to have more communication during this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, ma'am, for kindly addressing at the inaugural session. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest of honor, His Excellency Niels Ragnar Kamsvåg, was appointed Norwegian ambassador in India in 2015, has served as ambassador to Serbia, Macedonia and Montenegro from 2010 to 15, as representative to the Palestinian Authority and as ambassador Middle East and North Africa in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He joined the MFA in 1981. In addition to various positions in MFA, he has been posted to Beirut, Rome, Brussels, Beijing, Jerusalem and Belgrade. From 1990 to 1993, he was Director of Public Affairs in Norsk Hydro and has an MA in History from the University of Oslo. And ladies and gentlemen, I have the proud privilege in inviting our guest of honor, His Excellency, for his address. Please put your hands together for him.
Dignitaries at the dais, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great privilege to be here. It's interesting in one way as somebody who is an outsider to the scientific fraternity, which is meeting here, to see the kind of how these topics we are discussing today, if we go not so many years back, it seemed to be a rather esoteric issue dealt with relatively few people, to moving into a situation now where it's a very high attention to these topics, politically, economically, and it has taken on a significance which very few of us foresaw a few years ago. And the big participation here, of course, is a proof of this, because there is a clear understanding that what is happening in the Arctic, Antarctic and Himalayas have global implications, not only for the climate, but also potentially political and security wise implications if we are not able to deal with the consequences of this. So this is, again, a conference like this, a very strong example of the huge importance of the issues we are discussing here, but also the kind of the global fraternity being strengthened in this field. Let me say a few words about the Norwegian approach to the research when we are here. Of course, it goes a bit with the geography that we have a very long tradition of being interested in both the polar issues and also on climate change. We have just got a new Arctic strategy, actually, where we have 5 pillars: international cooperation, business development, knowledge development, infrastructure, and environmental protection and emergency preparedness. All these topics are highly relevant for the cooperation between Norway and India, and we have a number of joint projects within these fields. And it's really, for us, have been great to see how quickly the cooperation between Norway and India has developed in this field in a relatively few years. I mean, it's just 10 years since you established yourself on Svalbard, and now we see a number of, just last year we agreed on 9 joint projects in this area, which really tells very much about how close our cooperation is these days. It was mentioned earlier by Dr. Goel also on the technological importance, or the importance of developing technology, also doing the research, because one thing is to to focus on developing first-class research, but we should also develop first-class technology to facilitate this research. And for Norway, this 2017 has really been a very important year when it comes to that. I mean, because we have a number of great things happening. Dr. Koch, as she mentioned, she's getting a new ship in a couple of weeks' time, actually. Dr. Fridtjof Nansen. Huge research vessel owned. No, sorry, I jumped in with which will Kronprins Haakon, which will then be delivered formally in 2 weeks. Yeah, and owned by and run by the Polar Institute. The Kronprins Haakon will monitor the environmental state and the climate state, both of the Arctic and Antarctic, and it really will be a huge step forward for our abilities to carry out research on these topics. Then we also have got a new marine research vessel, Dr. Fridtjof Nansen, which is owned by the Norwegian Agency for Development Cooperation, NORAD. It's built as a part of the UN Nations Food and Agricultural Organization's project, and it's jointly operated by the Institute of Marine Research in Bergen and the University of Bergen to help developing countries improve their fisheries management. And this new fishery and oceanographic research vessel was delivered in January 2017. A third important development actually in this field is a new privately owned and financed research and expedition vessel, which will be tailor-made for worldwide research and expedition activities with the objective of developing knowledge and sustainable solutions to address the ocean's environmental challenges. The World Wildlife Fund Norway is invited by the ship owner to take part in the further development of the research and expedition projects. It's equipped with the latest technology on board the vessel. It will be one of the most advanced research expedition vessels in the world. And it will have equipment for monitoring and surveying marine areas, currents, the seabed, fish, animal and plant life in all of the world's oceans. And this is again it's developed by Vard Design, Norwegian company in cooperation with other Norwegian companies. And this ship is expected to enter service in 2020. These examples shows just that. First, the last example, which is very important for us, is to see that we can have a very fruitful cooperation between the private sector and the public sectors. Because it's, again, as I said, important to develop very good technology for advancing our knowledges. And we are very happy to see also that we have been able to have this very good dialogue with the private sectors to be able to develop these technologies, and which we will now have very good ways of testing in the years to come. And let me then just lately say a few things on our joint research activities. As I said, it's a very broad activity now. We have joint expeditions out just as we speak, also as was mentioned. And for us, we have appreciated very much that cooperation, and also to see how much resources India is putting into this now, and see how quickly the field is increasing. And I think the big participation of this seminar bears proof just to this. Talking about participation also, let me finish with mentioning the next possibility for financing joint research cooperation, which will be the upcoming Horizon 2020 calls, which is an EU call, but where Norway is participating. It's a huge call. It's a huge possibility for for Indian researchers to join into cooperating with the best research institutions globally. And this is also for financing joint Indian-Norwegian research. There will be a number of years before there will be a possibility for a joint bilateral call. So from that point of view, but it's possible with bilateral projects through these calls. I would really encourage the scientific communities in both countries to take advantage of this big possibility, which is in this call. So with this word, I will look forward to participating in the seminar, and wish you all a good seminar. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. And ladies and gentlemen, I take this opportunity to inform all our distinguished delegates present here that we are live on webcast and we have access to about 9 lakh viewers. We already have started getting comments from the viewers who are watching us on webcast, and by end of the day we'll have many more connected to us. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I have the proud privilege of introducing our Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. M. Rajivan. He is currently Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences, and served as an eminent scientist and director at the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, Pune. His scientific career started as Senior Scientific Assistant during 1983-85 at the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, Mumbai. In 2012, he moved to the Ministry of Earth Sciences as Scientist G and Advisor, where he continued till February 2015. In 2015, he moved to IITM Pune as its director. Dr. Rajivan is the recipient of many awards, including the START Young Scientist Award by the START Foundation, USA, for the Best Research Paper in 2001. He received the 20th Biennial Mawsam Award by Department of Science and Technology for the Best Research Paper in 2001. He also received the Young Scientist Award by Ministry of Earth Sciences for research contributions in atmospheric sciences in the year 2007. For his research contributions, Dr. Rajivan was elected as a Fellow of the Indian Academy of Sciences in the year 2012. He is the high-level advisor to the Commission of Climatology of the World Meteorological Organization. And ladies and gentlemen, with those words of introduction, I have the proud privilege of inviting Honorable Chief Guest for the inaugural address. Please put your hands together to welcome.
Thank you. So, good morning, all of you. His Excellency Nils Karsberg, Ambassador, Norwegian Embassy, Dr. Shailesh Naik, former Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences, Dr. P.S. Goel, former Secretary of Ministry of Earth Sciences, Dr. Nalan Kok, Director of Norwegian Polar Institute, Dr. Sig Devendra, Dr. Sulagna, distinguished delegates, invitees, students. I'm extremely happy to be part of this 4th conference on science and geopolitics of Himalayas, Arctic and Antarctica, being organized by Lights Foundation. I remember participating in the last 2 also, which was held in Indian International Center in Delhi. And I would like to congratulate Sulagna and her team of Lights Research Foundation for organizing this important conference on Himalayas, Arctic and Antarctic. Of course, the topic tells about science as well as geopolitics, but I assure you that I will not talk any politics here today, and I want to have a peaceful day today by talking only on science. So, as you know, that Antarctic, Arctic and Himalayas represent our climate system, and it's a biosphere system. Any changes in the climate system can affect the climate balance, especially it affects the Earth's radiative budget, so it can affect the hydrological cycle. So any changes in the biosphere system can lead to subsequent consequences in climate. And so as we know that carbon dioxide is increasing, as she was mentioning, just crossed 400 ppm. Now there are consequences, and climate variability consists of 2 parts. One is of natural variability, and there is anthropogenic, which is basically a human activity. And if you ask what is the, well, can you tell me one example where global warming has really affected any parts of the climate system? The good example is the Arctic sea ice melting. Best example could be the Arctic sea ice melting. The best example could be the Arctic sea ice melting, and as we know that we have been using the satellite data for last 20-25 years from US defense as well as SSMI data of microwave images, and from there we could really establish that Arctic sea ice is melting very fast, and it is very unprecedented, and it has its own implication. And Antarctica also, there are some consequences which are already have been documented by many researchers of the effect of climate change. Himalayas, there are a lot of apprehensions about that Himalayan glaciers are retreating. There are documents, there are a lot of research coming out saying that Himalayan glaciers are retreating, and that could have some impacts on, especially on Himalayan biodiversity and ecosystem, as well as it could lead to some changes in the hydrological system and especially river runoff, etc. And as far as Arctic sea ice melting is concerned, there are, as I told, that there are linkages of Arctic sea ice melting with the rest of the world, and there are series of research papers coming out recently saying that Arctic sea ice melt could lead to many events in the extreme weather events, especially over Europe and even to East Asia like China, etc. And even we have studied, made some papers saying that it can even have a link to Indian monsoon. And so the Arctic sea ice melting is not, the effect is not confined within the Arctic, it has a large impact on other areas of the, especially in the northern hemisphere. And it all affects through the middle altitude weather systems, and it has been well documented. And but when Arctic sea ice is melting, and one fine morning, if you really see the climate change projections by IPCC, and by 2060 or 70, may not be in my lifetime, but at least our children's lifetime, there will be an Arctic sea without ice. And so that could be the implications of go on sea ice melting and continuous melting of sea ice. And of course, people are talking about business and commercial opportunities of Arctic sea without ice, especially the getting ship routes through northern Arctic. And we will not go into that detail, but these are some of the serious issues or science issues which we need to address. And so we need to have a credible, up-to-date scientific knowledge is essential for development of, if you really want to have some climate change policy, and especially including adaptation as well as mitigation measures. So we need to really document this kind of changes in the climate system, and also we should tell the government saying that these are the possible climate impacts on different sectors. And MOES has been doing a lot of good activities thanks to Dr. Goyal as well as Dr. Sailesh Naik. They have initiated a lot of good programs in the past, and we are continuing this program, and we are also trying to accelerate these scientific programs. And for example, NCOR, our institute at Goa, is doing a lot of work in Arctic, Antarctic as well as Himalayas, and Dr. Kamsberg is there, Honorable Ambassador is here. I would like to make use of this opportunity to thank Norway for collaborating with us, and also giving the site at Svalbard for setting up our observatory. And as she was mentioning, we have good association with the Norwegian Polar Research Institute. We would like to continue the association with Norway in future. And I'm happy to see that at least 2 Indian students did a PhD at the Norway Polar Institute recently and completed. And as far as Antarctica is concerned, we have been there since 1982. India is a member of Antarctica Treaty, and we have 2 stations, Maitri and Bharati. And Maitri, as we know, that's very old. We have plans for replacement of Maitri stations very soon, next 3-4 years. And also we are going to acquire a polar research vessels. We have started a few years back, but a lot of ifs and buts, and now we have started the final countdown. And expression of interest has been already floated. Probably today is the last date for expression of interest for polar research vessel. Once we have, then our research activities will further strengthen. And also I would like to say that NCOR will be renamed as National Polar Research Institute. I guess that notification will come in soon. And as far as Himalayas is concerned, they have established, NCOR has established a station called Himalsh. I remember going there for about 4 kilometers there, and inaugurating that center. And the main purpose of this Himal station is to understand the glacier dynamics, how glaciers are melting. In addition to this, we also do a lot of work on climate change issues. For example, Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology has a Center for Climate Change Research. They have started working on Earth system modeling. The first Earth system model has been already completed. And with this Earth system model, we will be participating in the next IPCC climate change scenario assessment, the 6th assessment. And by 2018, December will be the target dates, and we already started running the models and producing the scenarios. And so that will be a milestone in India's history, because the first time an Indian model will be participating in the IPCC climate change assessment. So we would like to congratulate all the scientists working at the Climate Change Center for initiating this work and doing an excellent job. And also we are going to set up some climate reference stations to understand. We need to have some base reference stations, because what people talk about climate change scenario, for example, change in 0.5 degree above normal, 0.5 degree trend for last 100 years. These are all based on the weather observatories, which are basically mainly used for operational work. And there could be changes in the weather observatories in shifting from one place to another place. So this all could lead to some errors, some uncertainty in the estimation of climate change trends. So people are suggesting that we should have a climate reference stations, fixed number of stations, and in a very pristine area, so that we can have a kind of background information about the base climate. From there, we can, next 50 years, we can find out whether really climate is changing. If so, how much is the magnitude of the change? So we are going to, in the US, they have about 114 stations. So India, we have really started working. So next year, the first station will come in Antarctica as well as Arctic. And in India, it's very difficult to find some 50 pristine areas. If you have any suggestions, please let us know. We will be happy to put these 50 climate reference stations in those years and those stations. And so we encourage research in both Arctic as well as Himalayas. We encourage the research is not confined only in our institutes at NCOR. We would like to have universities get involved. And recently we did a kind of analysis, kind of a survey of what's the impact of research, what is the status of Antarctic research in Antarctica, Arctic as well as Himalayas, by asking the Web of Science to do this job. They came out with a report, and which report will be published hopefully by next month. And I would like to give a very important details about that. As far as Antarctic research is concerned, the first decade starting from 1996, we are 17 in the position of number of research papers, and of 137 papers or so. And the next decade, the latest decade, we have improved one step. We are in the 16th position now with the 279 papers. Arctic, we are nowhere. Arctic research, we are nowhere. We are not even a member in first top 30 countries. And Himalayas, we are the first. Of course, Himalaya belongs to us, and we do a lot of good work thanks to good institutions in the country, especially the Wadia Institute. And the first 10 years, we have published about 984 papers. So we are the top. And in the next decade, we have published 2,809 papers. We are again we stand at the first position. So we would like to encourage more and more university students to come forward and work with us on these three areas, Arctic, Antarctic, and Himalayas. And once again, I appreciate the efforts being made by Lights Research Foundation in promoting these topics, as well as to discuss these climate change and related issues on Arctic, Antarctic, and Himalayas. And so I wish you all the best, and wish you all the best for this successful conference of SaGHAA 4. Thank you very much, and Jai Hind.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Rajivan, for that very noteworthy inaugural address. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we wish to present mementos to our dignitaries as a token of gratitude. Today, the memento that we are going to present in the inaugural session is a handicraft from Chhattisgarh, which is a very ancient craft called Loshil. It is undated in this history, and unfortunately a very dying out craft in this modern world. So this is a little effort of SaGHAA 4 to bring up or support this Dying Handicraft Art of Chhattisgarh. To do the honors, I invite Ms. Sulagna Chattopadhyay to present a small memento as a token of gratitude to our Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. M. Rajivan, Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences, Government of India. Thank you very much indeed. I invite Dr. M. Ravichandran to do the honors of presenting a memento to a guest of honor, His Excellency Mr. Kamswar. Next, I invite Dr. Tyagi to do the honors. Dr. Tyagi to present to our guest of honor, Dr. Shailesh Naik. And then I would like to invite Dr. Ashwagosha Ganju. Dr. Ganju to present to our guest of honor, Dr. P.S. Goel. And may I also invite Dr. Rajiv Nigam. Dr. Rajiv Nigam to do the honors of presenting to Dr. Nalan Kaur. Thank you, sir, for doing the honors. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I have the proud privilege in requesting our Honorable Chief Guest and dignitaries on the dais to kindly do the honors of lighting the small lamps kept in front of them and officially opening or declaring the SaGHAA 4 open. And ladies and gentlemen, with that, we declare SaGHAA 4 open. Thank you, sir, for doing that. And ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Sulagna Chattopadhyay, you may kindly take your seats, sir. Thank you. Convener SaGHAA 4 2017 is also the President of Lights, and she is a founding member and Chief Editor of Geography in You, a development magazine. She has been nominated as a member in the Working Group for Disaster Management in the Planning Commission in 2011 and is current member of the Expert Group in National Biodiversity Authority and Bihar State Disaster Management Authority. And may I invite Ms. Sulagna to kindly propose the vote of thanks.
At the outset, obviously, I mean, it's beautiful to see so many people here, and it's a proud moment for me. Thank you, Dr. Rajivan, for your support. Thank you, Ambassador Saab, for embracing this occasion. Thank you, Professor Goel. Although we've had a talk about this, but your guidance and your blessing has been very important for me. Dr. Shailesh Naik, I think he carries the legacy of SaGHAA with him. He's been with us from SaGHAA 1 onwards to SaGHAA 4. So he kind of knows the kind of work we are doing very closely. Thank you, sir. I want to thank also Dr. Ravichandran for his generous support to SaGHAA, Dr. Nalan for making this effort to be with us today and for the conference. And Dr. Satish Shenoy, thank you for being with us, Dr. Sudhakar, Dr. R. Ramesh, Dr. Rajan, Dr. Aril from Norway, and Dr. Einar, Dr. Atmanand sir, Dr. Sanjay Chaturvedi, thank you sir, Dr. V.M. Tiwari, Dr. C.N. Ravishankar, Dr. S.K. Singh from NIO, Dr. Bhutiani, and Dr. Ashwat Muchaganjo, Dr. Narendra Tuteja, who is a very eminent scientist and also happens to be my neighbor. Thank you, sir. Dr. Tanu Jindal for her everlasting support. And I express my heartiest thanks to Ministry of Earth Sciences, without whose support we cannot, we cannot absolutely ever conceptualize a program like SaGHAA. They have given us the intellectual as well as the financial support, and we're really thankful to the Ministry of Earth Sciences and all its allied institutes, NCOR, Royal Norwegian Embassy for their support, IIRS, NRSC, IITM, DBT, SERB, SPLICE of DST, that is Dr. Akhilesh Gupta, thank you, sir, NCSS, CMLRD, NGRI, Amity, and all other organizations. Forgive me if I've left out a couple. Special thanks to Dr. A.L. Ramanathan and Dr. Sachidanand Sinha. Dr. Sachidanand Sinha, he is Dr. Sachi as we know him lovingly. He's been my mentor and guide for a very long time. I'm a student of JNU. He's been my professor, and he's really guided me through this event. This is the first time we've done it in JNU, and little hiccups he's helped us, so thank you, sir. And last but not the least, Dr. Rasik Ravindra, without whose relentless support, I don't think I would have managed. He's kind of helped me through this difficult time, and so thank you very much. I can't see you, but thank you, sir. And I also want to start my team. They have been here through nights and really worked. So I thank my team and all the boys here who have volunteered. Thank you very much, and we hope that bringing science and geopolitics together on one platform. We started this. Now we brought technology, so we have cold response technologies also this time on platform. So I hope we can build on this, the industry interface further, and maybe work as a team towards promoting this, which are frontier sciences. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Sulamina, for kindly proposing the vote of thanks. I'm sure it is being seconded by each one of us present here. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we close the proceedings of the inaugural session. We now have a short tea break of 15 minutes. Session 1, the technical session, would commence from 11 a.m. onwards, requesting you all to be back and seated in time for the next session. May I also request all our eminent speakers of the upcoming session to kindly load their presentations with us before they proceed for tea. Thank you.